All right, troops, let's do this then. Here we go. Weekend breakdown after the Community Shield and some of the Scottish games that went on. Um, let's just get straight into it with. I'm gonna do it with kind of how the weekend went for me. So we're kind of gonna do it in a chronological order. Apologies if I seem a little crouched down or having to move. It's just a setup we've got. We'll get there. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start with Rangers game as the first game that I watched at the weekend. Probably the first game that was on telly as well. But I did tune into it. I did watch it. Obviously a good result for them in midweek against Victoria Pleasant. Very comfortable, should be through to the next round of the qualifiers, which is huge for Rangers. And we know Russell Martin had those comments the following week, and he got a reaction out of the players. So I really wanted to watch this game and kind of see what he would do. He pretty much stuck with the same team. He left out the likes of Tav and everything like that. Big move from him, bold move. I know he does bring him on, and Tav does get the penalty for the equaliser, but yeah, I overall actually thought Rangers were pretty good. I actually thought on the ball they were trying to do, what they were wanting to do and move it quickly, and they knew, well, I'll say they knew, we'll get into this, but, Dundee kind of came and they sat deep, as everyone else kind of knew what was going to happen. According to Russell Martin, he did say in his press conference after the game that, they maybe need to work a little bit more on that in training, which I thought was a little alarming because that's 98% of your games in the league. Europe, you might be a little bit more on the back foot and be able to be, a bit more expansive and kind of counter-attacking. But in the league, everyone's going to come and try and sit in and just frustrate you if you're Rangers and Celtic. So a little bit of an interesting comment there, but Dundee do that. I thought they did that really, really well. But yeah, like I was saying, I thought Rangers looked good. I thought they moved the ball around quickly. I could see what they were doing. I liked the look of like Rothwell. I thought he was picking it up and trying to drive the ball quickly. Obviously, Gassama, kind of the most kind of frightening attacker, I think, that they'll have on the wing. He's going to constantly cause problems. I really like the looks of Lyle Cameron in centre midfield, personally. I think that's a great signing from Dundee, obviously. But there was a lot of signings, particularly in the set pieces, and if we have a little look at that, when I was looking at the statistics on transfer market, just with regards to that, if this actually wants to low up, Dundee get 4 corners, but they do manage to get 13 free kicks, right? And that's where they did look the most dangerous. It was the same kind of one, just floated to the back post a little bit, wasn't it? And the boys were really wanting it more. And that's going to be the case. You're going to come up against a team who I really think will be fighting relegation. So as Rangers, you know that's what's going to be the case, and you have to handle it, and it's going to be a bit frustrating, and they're going to be aggressive from those areas. And just Rangers didn't really seem like they could handle it at all. It hadn't looked like they'd really worked on anything. I'm sure the coaching staff would say differently if you sat down and chatted with them, but yeah, they just looked a bit naive. The same thing kept happening, and Dundee hit the post, I think twice from that, before they eventually do go on to, get the opening goal to go 1-0 up from literally the same thing. So that was definitely a weakness for Rangers, and then obviously they do lose the centre half, and they go down to 10 men, and then they kind of need to put their foot on the gas. He makes the changes and need to go for it. But on Dundee's part, I did tweet this, but I was a little disappointed. I was watching it with my cousin Jamie, and I was saying to him, like, I get why Dundee this would be huge for them if they can get 3 points and everything like that. I fully do understand it, but they had the extra man, and I just think if you leave one guy up top when Rangers are obviously at home, the crowd's not with them, they're kind of getting agitated, leave someone up top and give Rangers something to think about and just get it forwards, and they didn't do that. And I just think that, yeah, fine when you get to the last 5-10 minutes if you want to go to that. I thought they did that very, very early. And look, a point for them is great, but I don't know. I just think mentality-wise, if that was me and I'm sat here in my living room, not on the sideline like Stephen Presley, but I think that if that was me in that game, I would have left someone up top and just tried to give them something to think about and a little bit of way out, and potentially, make it 2-0 before Rangers do get the equaliser, which was just coming, and that's my point. Like, if they're going to bombard you anyway, 11 men, 10 men, it's at Ibrox, they're behind the crowd are getting on them. So, you're kind of asking for that. The penalty, Gassama kind of hanged his leg, but look, it's one of those, he gives the referee something to think about. The defender does get tight to him. It's a little soft, but he gives it, not too many complaints on it. And yeah, I just think Dundee kind of were asking for it a little bit. And then, Rangers go ahead, they do score from that. And then I know Dessers gets the goal that eventually gets ruled offside, but yeah, just a little disappointing from Dundee. Well done. They'll be happy with that point. And I think from a Rangers point of view, I think there's been all that talk about you can do well in Europe and then they struggle in the league against those teams, and that's the thing that Russell Martin's going to have to really get there. I've said I don't think he has the spark to be the Rangers manager. I have since, by the way, done a little bit more research and trying to get a bit better at this and kind of dove into some interviews. I think I like how he talks, and I liked how he talked in the press conference after the game. But I think it's just on the ball stuff is not going to be a problem, and I think that already looks decent, and that's going to get better as the season goes on. It's off the ball, and it's having a bit of a soft underbelly that Rangers have at the moment in the league, and that's what he has to try and fix, and needs to try and fix that as soon as possible. I mean, they're currently that's 4 points dropped. They're on 2 points. Celtic are obviously sitting on 6. I mean, I know it's extremely early days, but you just don't want to fall too far behind too early there. I know Paddy Power have said they're paying out on Celtic winning the league already because they said they've seen enough, which is funny. They've also got a good bit of banter, but yeah, just could have been. Could have been a little different for Dundee, I think, if they just stuck some people up top. So, yeah, that's kind of what I thought on that game. I think we'll move into Hearts, beating Dundee United 3-2. I was following that on live score because I was watching the Community Shield game, but game actually looked all right on Sportscene. The tempo looked really high. Good from Dundee United, obviously playing in midweek and getting a decent result, 2-2 away. They'll have bigger fish to fry. I kind of thought they would kind of maybe look towards the Thursday game a bit more than they did, but it seems like they were up for it, and fair play to them. It looked like it was a decent game tempo-wise, so anyone that was there, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I think towards the end of the second half, obviously the Thursday part did play in it. I think Derek McInnes said that in his interview after the game, that he kind of knew towards the latter part of the game Dundee United would tire. That's absolutely fine. I know there's a lot of talk, and I did a podcast with Kieran, who runs Improving Scottish Football, and he said he doesn't like the excuse of the midweek games and stuff, and I get that. You don't want to use that as an excuse, but it's part and parcel of it, and when teams and clubs aren't used to it and the squads are quite thin, they're going to be tired in the league. So it played a part with Hearts, and Derek McInnes will know that through his time at Aberdeen. And he said that in the interview before the game. He thought that would be the case, and I think it does prove to be the case, albeit it's a penalty that Hearts score from Shankland, and then Big Finlay gets up and a beauty. The first header he gets is just old school. He just kind of pulls away from his man. He gets up and he, as they say, like a fish, just up and nods it back across goal. I thought that was beautiful. And then the front post kind of diving header one that he gets in there. It's just two very, very old school kind of set pieces. But it sounds like Hearts have brought a set piece coach in. There's been a lot of talk about him, saying that he's going to be important. And again, I think like from a Premier League side, Arsenal went very deep into that. I think that's a weapon to have in every game. Don't get me wrong, and it's going to get you some points and it's going to get you wins, as it did for Hearts on Sunday yesterday. But all in all, looked like a really, really decent game. I think the only thing for Hearts a little bit is Xander Clark, and it's early in the season, but I said after the Aberdeen game, there was times he looked really ropey when the ball got played back to him, and literally zero pressure on him, and he was just punting the ball away. So I was a little bit concerned of that. He should do better for the free kick, and he really should do better for the second goal where he's been at the front post. And look, obviously they've got Craig Gordon there as backup. I think they'll look for Xander Clark to be the number one as he's younger, and we know Gordon's getting on. But he's gonna have to make sure he's all right, because the last thing Hearts want is to be building this squad and building this momentum, and your keeper's the one that's dropping things in the net, and not keeping the ball out of the net as you would want. And Xander Clark, over the course of the last few seasons, has been a good goalkeeper. I've been at Tynecastle, I've seen him, he's good. So he'll just need to kind of get his form, get going, and keep the confidence up, and I'm sure McInnes will be able to get that instilled in him. But they'll just want to fix that. I thought quickly, just a couple of things, finish off on Hearts. I just thought, watching McInnes' press conference after the game, he said that the boys did not want to settle for a point. I like that. That's the mentality they're going to need to have if, they're all that talk about splitting the old firm and stuff. That's the mentality you're going to have. You've got to try and go and win every game. Obviously, there's a time and a place. You take a point. Of course, it's all based on moments. But, I did like that from McInnes, and that kind of suits what the vibe is around Hearts at the moment. And, one of the guys said that the player said that the dressing room's a real feel-good factor at the moment, and people are really excited about the future. And, as I said in the last video, Hearts have just got to ride that wave, and I think they've got the right man in McInnes to do that. And, they don't have European football this season. They can fully focus on the league and try and go deep in the cups. which is going to be huge for their first year development and this kind of whole real Tony Bloom thing. And yeah, as always, hearts are excited to see. Looked like a good game. Hope you guys enjoyed it if you were there. Just quickly, Hibs against Kilmarnock, obviously. Yeah, Hibs look like yeah, just they could have lost it at the end, to be honest. I think they get a chance too, based on what I've seen on Sports Scene, but they really could have lost it at the end. And again, that's probably the Europe part playing into it, and they'll need to deal with that and learn how to handle that. And it could affect the league form. I think it will. I think they'll still be in the mix, but I think the longer that they go through that and they're playing on Thursday, yeah, the more that's just going to affect the league form. So we will see. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see. We'll see what the case is with it. They'll just need to find the balance of it. To be quite honest with you. What else have I got on that? Needed to find the balance. What else have we got? I thought the boy Ben Brannan's goal, absolute screamer. That's a goal of the season contender early doors. I'm pretty sure it was him earlier on in Sports Scene where he takes someone on down the left hand side, gets right to the byline, does a nice skill to keep it in and gets by him. And I thought, oh, he looks good. He's got the shin pads down there like Jack Grealish. So yeah, he'll be interesting to keep an eye on. He is only 18, so that'll be an interesting one from them. I think that's 2 weeks in a row. Hibs have conceded goals right on the stroke at half time. You'll want to stop that. You do not want that to become a habit. And David Gray mentioned that in his interview after the game on Sports Scene, that they'll need to stop that. And yeah, for Hibs again, it's just that balance. It's just that balance of Europe in midweek and playing at the weekend. And is the squad thick enough? Is the squad good enough? You know, the manager needs to learn things too. They'll make mistakes on when they bring people in and who they bring in and what players can handle it. It's all a learning process. So I still think Hibs will be absolutely sound there. Just finishing off, just quickly, Celtic Aberdeen. Obviously, it's 6 from 6 from Celtic. It's a great goal from Hatate on that. Didn't look like a lot really happened in the game. Again, I only seen it on Sports Scene. I didn't tune into that one, unfortunately. Looks like Aberdeen started really well. They've got a lot to live up to, and they again have Europe this season. So you've just seen it with Hearts so many times. It's just so difficult to do, but it's 6 from 6 from Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers said after the game, there's a lot of people saying the style of football they're playing is not great, and it's not normally what they do play, and all those types of things. So his job is just to keep winning. I think there's a little bit of a sour taste from how he left last time, and a bit of a feeling that he could do the same again. And I would feel that way after having at Liverpool. I think I almost kind of wouldn't trust him if something else kind of better came along. So I get why Celtic feel that, but his job's just to keep winning. And they're currently already 4 ahead of Rangers. Play each other in a couple of weeks on the 31st. So huge start for them. Just to wrap this up, Community Shield. Crystal Palace 2, Liverpool 2. Palace beat Liverpool on penalties. Thought first 30 minutes Liverpool were electric. I thought Wirtz just is going to be... Yeah, he's going to be a hell of a player to watch. I'm so excited about it. I made this call in my group chat, and I'll put it on here and I'll put it online. I think if Liverpool can get things ticking, they'll do well in the Champions League this season. I think Florian Wirtz is a contender for Ballon d'Or. I think 22 years old, making that step up, coming to the Premier League. I can just see him just being the key. Like, Liverpool used him all day yesterday. He was the man. It's been Salah last season. It's always been Salah. And yesterday, Salah barely gets a touch of the ball. It's all through Florian Wirtz. And there's moments where he spins 3 people, and his acceleration to get away from people as he turns is brilliant. And it's just super exciting. He has a chance where he should probably score. But he looked really good. I thought biggest standout of the game is Ekitike. Again, haven't watched really any of him, just apart from Frankfurt here and there in the Europa League when they've played, but thought his touch was silky. I thought the way he got involved in the game and he held up the play, got his body in there. He looks like he has like a lot of attributes that you would basically want your number 9 to get, being in the box, getting goal scoring. Can you come and hold it up? Can you flick it on? Because he's really tall. He looks about the same height as Van Dijk. So really intrigued with him. I think the game changes when Ekitike comes off. I think Liverpool look a little lost tactically. I think they lose themselves. And unbelievably, with the money they spent, Liverpool are really short in that middle area. And I know there's all the talk on Isak about if they're going to get him or not, but Liverpool need someone else in there because Ekitike is young. He might not hit the back of the net as many times as he should do, and as they're going to want him to. So as bright as he was, it's an area that Liverpool really need to look forward to. But I think credit to Palace, first of all, just before I keep going on about Liverpool. I think they looked exactly the same as last season. You know what they're going to do. They look up for that game. It's another trip to Wembley that they don't get often. And well done to Glasner. They haven't really made any signings of note. They're keeping the same squad for the most part. They'll need to keep Eze. They'll need to keep Mateta to keep the level high. But yeah, they'll be very interested. I know I've seen that they are not going to be in the Europa League due to all that kind of rubbish on the background side of things, which I'm not going to get into. So they'll be in the Conference League. Seeing how serious they take that, I think they will, obviously, because it's Europe. They'll again have to balance Europe and the weekend games. So yeah, I think Palace will be another solid team this season. It's a year in. Again, just because they haven't signed anyone, we've seen that with Liverpool last year, can actually be a positive. And I know that's what we want as fans all the time, as signings in. But I'd be excited if I'm a Palace fan. I would be. I very much would be. Yeah, just finish off on Liverpool. I think the big chat yesterday is really on the defensive problems. And I've watched all the pre-season games and it looked exactly the same. The wing backs are high. It's 2 new wing backs. I don't know if he's letting them just be that free reign. I think the big thing last season for Liverpool and the reason they were so good and did so well under Slot was balance. I thought the balance of when to go forwards, when to sit in, when the team was in shape, was all absolutely spot on. And it's kind of like he's gone more attacking. And I know we've signed a lot of attacking players, but just exposing the defence a little bit with Van Dijk a little bit older. He has a poor game yesterday. He has been ill, by the way, for 5 days. He hasn't trained or anything like that. Not making excuses. The man's got enough rope. There's a Liverpool fan, but yeah, he steps up. For the second goal, he's not with it. For the first goal, he puts in a foul that's just very Van Dijk, not very Van Dijk-like, and yeah, Liverpool are short there, no question. There's talks of Gahey coming in. Is he going to want to come? It's a World Cup year. He's not going to be a starter at Liverpool. It's Konate and Van Dijk. So Liverpool just need to be careful on that. They'll really need to watch that. And yeah, I think on the left-hand side too, Cody Gakpo. I like Gakpo, and I think he's going to get a chance to get a few goals this season, but I just preferred Luis Diaz, and I get every single reason why Liverpool sold Luis Diaz. I totally get it, I do. But I just felt as if with the left back as well, with Kirkes, who's going to be more attacking than Robertson has been the last couple of years, Diaz does a lot of work for you running the other way. And I always say if you can have that in a winger, that is special. And it's not that Gakpo won't do it, but he's not as quick. There's so many times yesterday where Gakpo's getting the ball in the counter attack, and he's not as fast, and he always wants to do that thing where he cuts inside and chops inside, and he's almost like needing a defender to come to him to be able to do that. And I just thought he slowed it down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool balance that out. The whole play goes down the left-hand side. Like Salah and Frimpong are barely involved. Very cool. Frimpong gets that goal on 20 minutes and 20 seconds, apparently. I noticed it was the 20th minute, but I didn't know it was 2020. Weird, spooky. Thanks for that one, Jota. But yeah, a lot down the right-hand side. Verts like to drift out there. Ekitike likes to drift out there. You've got Kirkes, Gakpo out there. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see how they get balance right. And I'm not too sure with Gakpo on that left-hand side from a defensive point of view to help out Kirkes and everything. Yeah, Slot said that in his press conference. He said they need to adjust defensively. He says there's not, I don't think there was a lot needing change there. Like, you can bring in Kirkes and Frimpong. Frimpong's totally different to Trent, obviously, but is Kirkes really much different to a younger Andy Robertson? Just pull him back in a little bit at times, and yeah, they'll need to be careful with that. We're leaving it 1v1. It's nothing new, but I just think Van Dijk's 34. Konate is great 1v1 Colossus, but can be a bit of a bomb scare. Looks like he should be playing for the Ambiamis or something sometimes when he plays in moments. So they'll just need to be careful with that. I just don't think a lot needed changed. I really don't. I think the balance was good last season, and I get what he's trying to do. I think he's wanting games to be killed off quicker this season. We didn't do it. We let games go to the wire. We looked tired towards the end of last season. So I understand this thought process if he's trying to think, right, can we get games to 2-0? And just kind of then we can sit in a little bit more and control the game and do that earlier and save legs. So I get it, but let's see. He did say there's mixed feelings. The attack and play was nice. It looks very compact. I agree. It looks exciting. That looks like it's kind of clicking already. It's just getting the other part together. And obviously there's no Gravenberch yesterday, and there'll be no Gravenberch on Friday night against Bournemouth. And again, that's an area Liverpool are a little bit short in. Yeah, you can drop McAllister or Jones in there. Szoboszlai, who I thought had a really, really poor, from basically the 30th minute when Liverpool kind of dipped a little bit. I thought Szoboszlai was poor. I thought he gave the ball away a lot in the middle of the park. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's my rambling. Time to take a breath. Look, these will only be available for subscribers if you get all the way to the end here. Coming up, when I do them on the subscription service, I'm going to get video footage as we go through the season of games and talk about little moments. When I'm talking about moments, we can get videos that can cut to it. We'll go through some more stats and everything like that. It won't just be me face to face talking into the camera. It will be a lot more chopping and changing. So I think that'll be decent. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed, link is in the bio to everything. Link will be in the description on the video. And yeah, everyone have a good weekend. A good week, should I say. I'm so excited for the Premier League to be back on Friday. Super Cup on Wednesday. And let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. I'm really excited to get this content run going. So hope everyone has a good one, all right? Peace.